So I've invited Jarvis to be in this video to talk about briefly the reasons why we decided to leave the Philippines to live in New Zealand. So that was in 2007 when Jarvis went to New Zealand as an OFW. What did you do in New Zealand, Papa?
So I went there as a dairy farm assistant. So we were milking 1,000 heads of cattle, and we are in the middle of nowhere. The nearest house would be like a kilometer or 1.5 kilometer away from our house, which is the house of our employer. So basically, I was living with the cows beside me.
So his office is the farm. So he wakes up at 3 a.m. to take the cows out and then milk the cows. And then he goes home late in the evening to put the cows back to their, what do you call those? To their paddocks.
So roughly, on the average, we were working like 16 hours a day.
So that was in 2007. And a few months later, I also left the Philippines to New Zealand, not only to join Jarvis, but we also had another application for immigrant status where I was the principal applicant. So if you want to know more about that story, we will tell you that in another video. So just comment down below and tell us if you want to know more about the process, what we did in order for us to apply to immigrate to New Zealand. But this video is the reason. We want to talk about the reasons, if there are many reasons why we moved. Papa, what was your reason why we made the decision to uproot our family to get away from the Philippines and move to New Zealand?
Yeah, during that time, I think I resigned from my work and we set up a family business.
Organic lettuce.
Yeah, organic lettuce. So we were planting lettuce, and I was the one delivering the lettuce to the supermarkets. The business was running well, but the problem was the climate of the Philippines. So if it's typhoon, then you'll get hit by the typhoon. If it's summer, then it's too dry. The lettuce just like becomes bitter. So sometimes it's not palatable because it's bitter. And then we've got issues with sometimes marketing. So there were a lot of issues. So, and during that time, life was really hard. Even though Mimi was working in
a private premium university, one of the premium universities of the Philippines. So you would think my salary was that high enough already, but it turns out it's still not enough to supply or meet the needs of three little kids at that time. We have no place of our own that we can call our home. We shuttled between Las Piñas and Los Baños. So if you were in the Philippines, how far is that traveling every week? Maybe 2 hours one way from his mother's house in Las Piñas to my parents' house in Los Baños. So that was a bit difficult for us. We also had some medical issues for my son at that time, where I had to even go to the extent of tutoring Koreans English in the evenings to supplement the income. Plus we are paying for the farm workers as well. So running a business, having a full-time job with a family, we find ourselves really wondering why we are not achieving our goals. So we thought that the only way we could get a crack of a better life is to move out of the country and go to another country. And by the way, the clincher for me. Okay, so the clincher for me was my experience with dengue fever. I've been told by the doctor before in the Philippines that I have already fought or dodged 4 strains of the dengue strain, dengue virus. And if I were to be bit by a mosquito with a new strain, that might be it for me. That might be sayonara for me. So I really wanted to be in a situation or a place where I minimized the chances of me contracting dengue fever. So that was the other reason why we chose New Zealand, because there's no record of dengue there as well.
And we were really encouraged by my co-worker and friend Lorna Zarate, who also applied for permanent residency in New Zealand, and she was really encouraging us to apply as well. So she was one of the reasons why we went to New Zealand. And when we went to New Zealand, when we and the kids went there, we stayed with the family of Lorna and Roman Sarate in the house. So they helped us during the first few months of our stay in New Zealand.
So if you will ask us the question, so what was our life like in New Zealand at that time? So definitely, if you want a change of pace, a change of life, you want less clutter, clutter meaning the busyness of your everyday life. For example, if you lived in the city and there's a lot of noise, New Zealand will be a very drastic change for you, because it's pretty quiet, it's pretty laid back. There's lots of nature everywhere you go. So if you are after nature tripping rather than malling, then New Zealand is the place for you. It's a good place to raise a family, because you can focus on them. You can really keep an eye on them. You are well connected to the school community, and then you don't have anything else to worry about except your family. That's why it was a good opportunity for us to become more independent. There are no more yayas. The parents, my mother-in-law and my parents at the time, rotated when they visited the country. When they visited us, they took turns looking after the kids. Other than that, if they're not around during school holidays, we rotated with our friends who's going to look after the kids. So what are the other advantages of living in New Zealand?
No, but before that, just don't misunderstood us. Like, we never had, or we never went to the good life in New Zealand without going through all the difficulties and problems. So when I went there first, I worked as a dairy farm assistant. It was really, really hard. Like, from my toe up to my head, all my body parts were aching because of working 16 hours a day. So there was, most of the time I will be in the field fetching the cows, crying because of I was away from my family. That was the first time I was away with my wife. So I was really homesick. And on top of that, the hard work, you were cleaning, you were eating your food with, you don't really know if there are poops on your face, cow poop in your face. So it was like, if you're not really into this kind of job, you will be disheartened and you will say, oh, I want to go home, this is not for me. But I enjoyed, and during that time I was also communicating with our elders in the Philippines, and he was always telling me, oh, this is just like a transition, so just consider this as like a transition to get a better life for your family.
So it's really true, the saying that you don't easily get what you want in life until you have really fought for it, you've sacrificed for it, you've worked hard enough for it, and if you've prepared for it. So Jarvis mentioned elders. Before we went overseas, we had to do some preparation. I think it was not really destiny, but it was really meant to be. I think that we have to leave because we were our relationship is not perfect at the very beginning. We often fight. Until now we fight. But we are fighting in a more loving way now, unlike before. So one of our issues before was we weren't really thinking as maturely as we should. So when we joined the Marriage Encounter, the Life in the Spirit Seminar, we joined the Hand of God community. We are, it's like we were molded to become better persons and prepared to mentally and physically and spiritually accept all the challenges that we would be facing. So because of all the good things that happened to us, although it was really hard to go through all of those, we managed to give back to the community. We gave back to the Filipino community and the Kiwi community, the New Zealand community in whatever little way we can. So we served in the church. We were active in the Filipino chaplaincy of Wellington. We were also very active in our local community church, St. Joseph's Upper Hut. We were members of the choir. We joined in any church activity. We were very close to the Filipino priest and the Kiwi priests, Father Ron. Until now, we are in touch with them. And we also, together with some Filipinos, organized a charitable trust. So I want you to share with them what it is and why we did it.
So the charitable trust objective was to help migrants settle down in New Zealand, especially those who are having a hard time finding work, also whose status were just work permit status, not even a permanent resident yet. So we were helping them how to make cover letters for their job, for finding a job, for making their CVs, and
in short, all the settlement stuff,
Yep.
may even driving. Even those who don't have a place to stay, our house was like an Airbnb for a few days or for a few weeks. We clothed them, we fed them, and we opened ourselves to sharing our home and our time with them. Because some Filipinos, not all of them, even non-Filipinos,
Yep.
who have problems with immigration, we did our best to help them. We also had fundraising events, garage sales, donations in kind or in cash from generous sponsors, other members of the Filipino community who believed in our cause. So although there are new people now who have continued kasagip because we are obviously not physically there to help out, we still help out in our other ways here in Australia. So that's just a brief summary of why we moved to New Zealand and what was the outcome. If you want to know more about the nitty-gritty or the specific issues, comment in the comment section. If you have questions, Jarvis and I are more than happy to answer those questions. Just let us know what information you want from us, and we will be doing another video answering those questions. And we will also have another video explaining, so if you guys are already happy in New Zealand, why did you decide to move to Australia where we are now? So that's going to be another interesting video. So thank you guys for listening, and thank you Jarvis for joining me. And this is not the first and the last time. Jarvis will be with me in most of my videos.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
So prepare to be famous now. So thank you everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the Samutsari Conversations with Mimi Facebook page. Follow us. Bye.
Bye.